Good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to have you here for this press conference for Pullman Regional Hospital and Pullman Regional Hospital Foundation. I'm Scott Adams, the hospital CEO, and we're pleased to announce that earlier this year, just last month in November, Pullman Regional Hospital, in partnership with Pullman Regional Hospital Foundation, received a grant from the Murdock Charitable Trust to support us in our enhancement and advancement of women's services in the region. This is an up to $248,000 award that the Murdock Trust has provided to us to acquire the 3D tomosynthesis mammography system for increasing the availability of this service in the region. This caps off an effort that's been over a year in the making. In February of this year, as part of the annual hospital gala, we announced to the region our intent to advance services in mammography for women in the region, and we've partnered with our community to raise the money to make it possible for this new technology to be available for women in the region. Accompanying the 3D tomosynthesis will also be the addition of stereotactic breast biopsy capabilities, also made possible by this award from the M.J. Murdock Charitable Trust. The Trust is an $800 million organization that often identifies activities and improvements in services and care in communities that they feel merit their support, and we're grateful for their continuing acknowledgement of Pullman Regional Hospital and our leadership role in bringing these types of services to our community. With me today we have several folks who have been instrumental in making this award possible, and I want to introduce them to you now and turn some time over to a couple of them to offer some additional information. Right to my right here is Dr. Robert Lloyd, who's our radiologist and the medical director for our imaging services here at Pullman Regional Hospital. And to his right is Darren Porter, who is the director of our imaging services here at Pullman Regional Hospital. To my left is Fritz Hughes, the president of the Pullman Regional Hospital Foundation, and Michael Weissup, who has been the campaign chairperson for our annual fund drive this year, spearheading the effort to raise the money to acquire the 3D tomosynthesis mammography system. So I'd like to turn some time over to Dr. Lloyd to provide additional information about the capabilities of this new equipment and the benefits it will bring to women in our region.
I guess I just wanted to speak a little bit to what is 3D tomosynthesis and how is it different from traditional mammography. In recent years, there have been some incremental improvements in mammography as we moved from an analog world into a digital world. That transition occurred maybe about 10 years ago when those improvements in 2D mammography were made. However, this really is a new generation in breast imaging to move to this 3D tomosynthesis. To explain why this is an improvement, we might talk a little bit about some of the limitations that we face with traditional 2D digital mammography, in that I'll frequently talk with patients about the fact that all breast tissue is made up of fatty elements and fibroglandular elements, and different women have different proportions of those tissue types. Fibroglandular tissue is normal, however, fibroglandular tissue within the breast acts as a camouflage, making it more difficult to identify breast cancers that may be present within the breast. In addition to acting as a camouflage, sometimes these fibroglandular densities, again these normal architectural elements within the breast, can also mimic a cancer that isn't there in the first place. We call that a superimposition or a summation artifact, where different layers of the fibroglandular tissue kind of stack up on each other or add up on the two-dimensional flat image to look like there potentially may be a cancer there. Basically what that means is that the fibroglandular tissue can either hide an existing cancer, or it can mimic a cancer that isn't there in the first place. 3D tomosynthesis is really an advancement in technology that helps us to address both of these questions. 3D tomosynthesis is acquired with the mammography system performing an arc of imaging. It actually acquires a series of images, and by so doing, we're able to reconstruct these images a layer at a time. By looking at this at a layer at a time, we're able to kind of eliminate these superimposition or summation artifacts. It improves the ability to detect cancers, and it also decreases these false alarms that I've described to you. From a statistical basis, 3D tomosynthesis research is showing that it improves overall breast cancer detection by 29%. More importantly, it improves in detection of invasive breast cancers by 41%. That's important because the invasive breast cancers are the most important ones that we need to find. They're the ones that are going to matter, and if they're not found, can advance to untreatable stages. Additionally, and actually a part of the technology that I'm particularly excited about is its ability to reduce the number of false alarms. As I described, 2D mammography can often have these fibroglandular tissues that mimic that there may be a potential cancer there. And with the 3D technology, we'll be able to upfront understand that there's not a cancer there in the first place. And this should reduce our false positive recall rates by about 15 to 20%. The bottom line for this technology is it's better outcomes for less money. By reducing the recall rates, every time we have a false alarm, there's a cost associated with that, and those costs are financial because we have to come back and do additional diagnostic imaging, but those costs are also emotional in the anxiety that's associated with that, this technology will help us to minimize those. Tomosynthesis can be done in a variety of ways. It can be done as a 3D data set image, and you can additionally do a 2D data set, a 2D image with it, and that would be called a combo study, where you would be taking both a 2D and a 3D image. When 3D tomosynthesis is implemented in this manner, it actually would double the radiation exposure for the exam. More recently, Hologic has come out with yet another advance to this technology, which is able to generate a two-dimensional image out of the three-dimensional data set. And essentially what that means is that you can get both for the exact same amount of radiation dose as what we're currently utilizing for 2D mammography. So there should be no additional X-ray exposure associated with this exam compared to the traditional method. That's kind of my overview of the high-level overview of what 3D tomosynthesis is and why it's important, and why I'm excited about this technology. So I'll let Darren talk a little bit about the technical aspects of it.
Thank you. I guess I feel like I'd be a little remiss without, first of all, saying thank you. Thank you to the Murdock people. Thank you to the people, some of the people in this room who worked tirelessly to make this happen. There was a lot of time and effort invested into this project. It's the next step for us. Pullman Regional Hospital has always been at the forefront of providing high-end technology in our imaging department. In the early 2000s, We started off by going completely digital. We were the first in the area to do that. It was a huge step for us, and we've been practicing at that for some time. Being digital, we're very comfortable in that environment. With Dr. Lloyd as our radiologist, and with support, from his organization, his company he works with, we'll be well positioned to take on this new technology. We don't anticipate any additional costs being associated with this. It is covered by insurance companies, and will start in 2015 actually to be covered by insurance, so there won't be any additional cost to patients at all. Our remodel, let me talk a little bit about that. We are having to move some walls around just a little bit to create some space, especially for the stereotactic portion. We want to create an environment where patients are comfortable, where they can receive the care that they need, where we can get the equipment in there and not feel like they're cramped into a space, and our current space is a little tight. So we're going to also, in addition to that, create a little bit of a consult area where patients will be able to discuss findings with Dr. Lloyd. We feel like that's really important, especially around breast cancer, to have patients have that experience. So we've dedicated a little space for that as well as with this remodel. With the stereotactic, Dr. Lloyd talked about those biopsy capabilities a little bit. We estimate right now about 27% of our breast biopsies actually have to travel outside of our area because some of those just cannot be seen with our current technology. This will enable us to be able to see some of those smaller regions of interest that we need to be able to see and actually get tissue samples of. So we're excited to keep people here in Pullman. So and that's pretty much it for me. I will turn it back over to Scott.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Dr. Lloyd. We're very grateful for the partnership we've had with Pullman Regional Hospital Foundation on achieving this award and recognition from the M.J. Murdock Charitable Trust. I want to turn some time over to Fritz Hughes, who's the president of the Pullman Regional Hospital Foundation, and want to invite them to express their involvement and acknowledge the activities they've been involved in.
Well, we are very pleased to have a partnership with Murdock as well, as they look at hospitals that are very successful and very progressive and involve the community. That's one of their things that they look forward to, and when we did this grant, and we felt that we were being very successful in partnering with our community, and I think that's an added bonus for us. And as we look to the future here, to be self-sustaining, this is very important that we do have this partnership and that we can stay forefront in case of any changes that might happen in the medical world and how we provide for services. And we want to be able to provide the services that we're presently doing as we look into the future. And with the help of the Murdock, we were able to do that with the advancements of the tomosynthesis machines that is coming in. And thanks to Michael Weiss up here to my left, who was the chair of the 2014 annual giving, we were very successful, not only for this fantastic machine that we're going to have on board here in 2015, but also other aspects. So I'd like to have Michael share a little bit all we did in the 2014 annual fund drive.
Well, I'm Michael Weishaupt. Thanks for the time. Just wanted to go over what we did, how we did it, and what came of it. And you may know I'm in the car business, so I approach everything like a car deal. But I quickly found out that this is much more than selling cars. It's about saving lives, and additionally, it's about bringing lives safely into this world. What we did is we set a goal. We set a goal of $550,000, and what we wanted to do was help Scott and this hospital achieve their highest needs. And obviously we've talked about the incredible piece of equipment that Murdock was able to help us with, but there was more. There's a fetal heart rate monitor, which also is a wonderful piece of equipment that in the event of an emergency, we can save that child. There is also new beds, which my wife delivered here at Pullman Regional. I can't imagine how they made it better, but they did. Those beds are going to have a much better and much safer place for the mom and the baby to come. Additionally, there is also the laryngoscope. I said that right, Ruben, thank you. And in the event that another emergency arises, they'll be able to bring that baby safely home and with its parents. So, there was so much that went into this, and again, it's more than selling cars, it's about lives. And I could not believe the community of giving that I've experienced since day one, and now being here for 10 years. Over 400 donations were made I think that's an incredible thing. And you look up here with our board members and you look at the Board of Commissioners, 100% of the commissioners and the board members gave. That's 100% participation. They had a very effective campaign here with the employees. Even the mail-outs that we did received quite a response. You know, one of the other things too that we did, we had some great events. I mean, obviously we can't forget about what Murdock did for us, but we did some other stuff on our own. Had some great events. Had a gala. Fritz did an amazing job dancing. Great job, Fritz.
Thank you. Yes, worked on that a long time.
Had a golf tournament that, interestingly enough, Ruben and I won. So great job, Ruben. We also had a WSU student-led dance-a-thon, which was fun. It was incredible. It was great to see the students care as much about this hospital as we do up here. And then, of course, the most important event was the Auto Dealers for Health. Shocks you that I'm proud of that one, but again, it just proved that it's more than selling cars. It's about saving lives, and it's about bringing lives safely into this world. And you know, I just thank you for letting me be a part of it, and I'm glad you're all here today to see what we've accomplished. And I'd like to turn it back over to Scott.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Fritz. As final comments, just let me acknowledge that in addition to the community outreach that we've been able to expand upon, the support that we've received, there's a lot of support within the hospital community itself and the employees here and the staff, and not only in the foundation annual fund drive support, but in their commitment to providing that level of patient experience that makes the technology meaningful, but it brings it into that humanistic environment where sometimes the fears and the apprehensions that can be present are set aside because of that caring, compassionate interaction between the staff and the patient and their family. We're grateful to the Murdock Charitable Trust for their support and their acknowledgement of the leadership the Pullman Regional Hospital continues to play in helping to create a self-determining, self-sustaining future for our community and the healthcare services we provide. Thank you for being here today, and we look forward to your continued support as we move forward.
So $250,000 for Murdock, what's the total cost then of the 3D, roughly?
It's about 400,000.
Okay.
That's with the 3D and the stereotactic equipment.
Does that include your remodel costs for moving some walls? So the remodel space, when you guys are making that adjustment, how much square footage are we talking about that you guys are kind of moving around?
Boy, I'd have to talk to the architect on that one. I can't remember.
It's not, I
exactly.
mean, we're not talking about a major.
No, we're actually just moving some things around. We're
It's
actually using existing spaces and
It's a
kind
few
of-
hundred square feet that are
Yeah.
impacted.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this isn't gonna be a major.
No.
It's not a new wing.
Right.
And we have a trade-in.
Okay,
Future
and
project.
so Michael, you said you guys raised $550,000 this year.
You know, we're not all the way there yet. I don't think the final results, but we're on track. It's looking good. So,
How many years have we done this annual effort?
you know, I'd have to defer to Fritz on that. Oh, hold on, two.
2 years.
Okay.
2 years.
So how much did we raise last year?
Last year, about 500,000.
Wow, okay. And so, if my math serves me correctly, so about 150 of the 550 goes to this, right? Because if
Yeah.
we're starting at 250, we're going to 4.
And I told you it's like a car deal. We had a trade-in.
Yeah.
Right, doctor? Didn't we trade in our machine?
Yes, the 2D is being traded in.
Yeah.
So those other items you mentioned too, of the, there are other
Yeah.
purchases that'll be a part
Correct.
of the annual.
Correct, and it was for highest needs. I mean, obviously that was the big one, but there were other things that we felt we could help the hospital with, and we were able to do it with all the contributions and events that we had, so.
So Evan, there's a committee that looks at the highest needs for the hospital. And this is brought on different folks together, and then we bring this in, and this is kind of what we want to look at, and then we bring this to the foundation board, then we get the approval of the foundation board. Yeah, let's move ahead with this, and so everybody's kind of rowing the boat in the same direction, so that, and then go from there, and then we set this goal, then we go for it.
So
We get a lot.
we're doing this again at 15, right?
Yes, we are.
When do we know what our highest needs are for 15? Are we working on that now?
Yes, yes. We're kind of fussing and discussing right now, but I think we're through discussing and pretty well have it
So
nailed
we'll
down.
know fairly soon what
We will
the
know.
next plan is.
Yes, we will.
And then when will we have 3D in place? Ready to go?
I can't give you an exact date yet, but we're looking more into April, around mid-April, first part of May, somewhere around there.
Okay. And lastly, with this new technology, and whoever wants to answer this fine, I mean, this is gonna save lives, correct?
Yes.
And that's just because of the combination of more accurate, better data?
It finds more cancers earlier. And so it's all about early detection. That's why we do screening in the first place, is you want to find it while it's still treatable. Once a cancer has begun to spread, whether that's spread to lymph nodes or spread to distant parts of the body, that's the 5-year survival rates just drop off significantly. Whereas very early detected lesions are essentially 100% curable. And so the earlier we find them, the better the outcome.
Thank you.
Any questions over here? Other questions then from
anyone?
anyone?
Is there going to be any disruption in patient care?
Our plan right now is we're going to use an existing space in the respiratory department to move our existing machine over, and we'll actually move it and bolt it to the floor there so that we can continue to provide services and so that we don't have interruptions. So, good question.
All right, well, thank you everybody for coming and for your continued support. And we're done with the formal part, but we're all available for other questions if people have them.